Hi, I'm Jale. Welcome to my channel. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Aries for January 2020. So that's Aries Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, Ascendants, Stelliums, the Aries energy in general, what will be happening for you guys. As always, we'll be linking in with Spirit. I don't know why they're laughing already. They're making me laugh. We're going to be linking in with Spirit to try and get some channeled messages through. Then we'll be turning to the tarot. I have the Juliet Sharma Burke deck for you guys today. Then we'll be pulling oracle cards for outcomes. So let's get an idea of what they want to bring forward. I'm just going to get a link with Spirit now. Ooh. Okay, I feel like they're going to want to put through information on love around the month of January, but let's just see. It feels like there could have been either some separation between you and a partner, potential love interest. That is, the gap is closing, I'm hearing. It's like there's a kind of recalibration in terms of what your expectations are, what it is they're going to be projecting and putting in your path for the month of January. In order to resolve some of these or rebalance some of these issues that maybe have seen you slightly separated and or on different pages. It's interesting because I'm hearing tale as old as time and then Beauty and the Beast. So it could well have been that if you resonate with the energy that your other half or the potential love interest there maybe had deemed themselves not worthy, have felt that maybe they weren't worthy of maybe your connection. Maybe you were the one that felt like that. I feel that there's going to be a reconsolidation at some point within this month where you're going to be looking again at the situation to see if this is a kind of palpable type of connection that it has some, you know, kind of longevity to it. I'm hearing a lot of doubts are creeping in or have done, but let's just get a kind of read on it as to sort of future energies for the January period. Just watch for that. If you're feeling like you're observing certain things, that there is a sort of the tangibility of it is maybe a little bit kind of lost, or you're not quite able to tangibly grab certain information. Things are a little bit kind of smoke and mirrors. You're not sure. Just watch for any assumptions that you're making, because I feel like, again, they're just saying a test. Again, if you're going into work, money situations, friendship circles, family, is the reality that you're being presented with the actual reality, or is it something that has culminated in a collection of assumptions whereby you're viewing things in a certain perspective and then responding in order for you to then be triggered and bring something up that you need to heal? Because there's a lot of mirroring going on here. It's almost like they're trying to bring you that illusion so that you can recognize your own inner illusions, which we all have. You know, the ego is very good for trying to create illusions to hold us, you know, in a certain place so we're not evolving. Look into those kind of scenarios that are triggering you, because it could hold some valuable insight into really what it is that you need to evolve from and heal. Because sometimes when we're coming from that kind of place of wounded energy, it's very difficult to get solid ground to kind of view things in a way of balance, because obviously there's an underlying emotion behind it. Be sensible, don't make any reactive moves, okay? Please try not to. Easier said than done. I've been sucked into it as well. Even now, I'm recording this on the 27th of December 2019. Just make sure that you're not being so reactive that you're reacting to you as opposed to the situation in the entirety of what is the deal, essentially. So something for you to look into. Yeah, it's achievable. If you get to a certain point in the month and you think, I'm giving up, this is ridiculous, this situation hasn't been resolved, I don't want to do this, I'm so confused, hold off. Don't make any quick decisions. Just don't make any quick decisions, because the way they're kind of giving it to me is this is being presented for you to heal yourself first. And actually it could well be that the other person also is needing to do some healing as well, which is a sort of, again, this mirroring sensation that you're getting, which actually will lead you into a solid path for the both of you to parallel walk alongside, then to be realigned when the time is right. Yeah, it's like you know when you kind of see out your peripheral vision something and you can't quite determine what it is? There's a lot of that going on. We need you to kind of turn and head on look. Don't charge, just look around, you know, 360-degree view, bird's eye view. They're saying it's really important not to just charge ahead within that area. If you're making a decision based on lifelong goals, make sure that that has also, you've taken that into consideration also. Are you doing it? Are you looking at your goals from a wounded position of how you've maybe been hurt? Now, there's all well and good creating that goal from something that, you know, you're spurned on by, or you're kind of, you're fired up by, because there's a passion behind it. But is it a misguided energy? Okay, so again, it's kind of like, and I kind of feel like between now and the beginning of the sort of up until the 10th to 12th of January, while it's important to be making decisions and knowing where you want to go with it, for you guys, what I want to say is just make sure you're not charging so far ahead that you've missed point A to point W, and then you've just gone from W to Z and thought, oh well, you know, there's something about that it's like there's a revealing towards the end of the month that I feel that if you've acted on something, they're going to show or present something that you're going to be like, oh, why didn't I know that before? It's like the Scooby-Doo reveal. You're like, oh my goodness, it's him, you know. So just be very aware of it's like smoke and mirrors, but they're sneaky. They are sneaky, I'm not going to lie. They do it sometimes to see if we've listened, and that we've listened to ourselves, and they're doing it again. They're laughing, you know. So annoying. So annoying. They do it to me all the time. I'm like, really? We not got over this yet? And they're like, you haven't learned. I'm like, okay then. Right, so let's go to the tarot here. So Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs here. What can you tell us, please? What is it Arian energy in general needs to be aware of for January 2020? Let's start with a theme of the month here, and then we'll dig a bit further into sort of specifics. So what is the general theme, first of all, for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising and or Venus signs for January? Whoa, that's a heck of a lot of cards. Let's have a look at the overall theme here. January for Aries. Yeah. Five of Swords, okay. Who is the battle with, guys? Is it with the vision? Is it with the person? Is it with yourself? Okay. Who is the fight against or for? Because look, I feel like you've got two people wandering away there, and there's a man holding the Five of Swords up. The two swords have been dropped, so the indecision has been dropped, and he's holding the Three of Swords. But as we know, the Three of Swords is the heartbreak and loss card. Don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Okay, whatever you do, if you're reacting like, yeah, victorious, you know, is it for the good of you in the long run? Is it a short-term victory, or is it overall a very positive long-term goal, or a target that has been reached? Because this, for me, again, Five is about change. Sword is about that mental kind of, the agility, that kind of, the mindset, the sort of patterning of thought processes. Is this really, is it a hollow victory? Okay, so just be really careful what you're fighting or kind of striving towards, because we don't want it to come at the end of the January and think, oh, that was a bit silly. I think I've picked up the Three of Swords. I've got a loss now, you know, and the Two of Swords have been dropped. I've dropped my indecision, but I've fought against myself a little bit here. And then we've got the Knight of Pentacles as well. So again, it's that slow, arduous journey. Okay, it's that long-term plan, that Knight of Pentacles, which is that solid approach. You are taking the reasonable steps at a lot, you know, a very steady pace to get to where you want to go. But don't do it at the expense of a short-term win. All right, make sure that you're, you know, it's all well and good winning the battle, but have you won the war? You know, just watch for that. The Knight of Pentacles is solid as well. It's practical, okay? So are your passions getting ahead of yourselves to the point where the long-term goal is being missed in favour of a short-term solution? All right, let's just get some more cards to clarify this now. What can you tell us about these cards, please, Spirit? What other information can you give us here? What can we, how can we help Aries for January 2020, Spirit? What information do they need to be aware of? What is the Five of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles, please? I don't know why I want to say this, but if you guys are thinking of moving or relocating somewhere and that's your out, let's say, either there's going to be a potential opportunity for that to be put on pause. And again, it could be that you're going to start fighting that, thinking, oh, I want this. Is it for your highest and best interests? Is it for your highest and best interest? Is it the Five of Swords, where you've jumped out the frying pan into the fire, you know? Yeah. Yeah. We've got to do it from a place of non-fear. Okay, this is Nine of Swords. This is that very nervous energy. We're up at night, wondering, overthinking, okay? These types of energies cause a heck of a lot of illusions. I'm just going to put it out there. Because when you're so much in that headspace, it tends to overwhelm, and then there's a kind of disconnect between your heart and your head, and then you're sat there thinking, what's my name again? Because you've overthought it to the point, and trust me, I've done it 1,000,001 times over. Sometimes the answer can't be sought within the head. It has to be integrated, anchored, you know, and there sometimes needs to be a bit of time taken in order for things to fully integrate, okay, to the point where you do get answers, all right? And that requires a nurturing of the self. This is an incubation period of where you're birthing new ideas. Could also be a birth, could be, you know, fertile opportunity there. You know, it could well be that there's an anxiety over something new and you're not entirely sure whether you want to take that on board or go with something that has been tried and tested and sort of lose the news opportunity in order to favour something that where, you know, you feel is your victory. Just be very careful, because there's a very strong illusionary energy behind these cards and what I'm picking up on. And again, you're going to hate me for saying this, but I've got to be real with you. Is this about ego? Is this like a deemed victory for the sake of saving face because you want to appear a certain way? And at the end of the day, if you feel that is within your highest and best interests, that you can nurture something from in a solid manner, then who am I to say otherwise? But you must feel that that is the right decision, because you are going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes it takes a while for that energy to clear. And what you need to do in the meanwhile is say, I hand this up to Spirit, because I will trust that upstairs will show me the way. So when you're sending that back out, it's creating that avenue upstairs, and then you're opening yourself up to receive. You're opening yourself up to receive the new information that's to be downloaded in order for you to carry on your path, okay? But you must send it up and just release it and say, look, you guys, you're going to let me know. Please let me know the right way or the advice in order to move through this successfully. And then you start looking around for signs, okay? If you're getting 1,000,001 synchronized numbers on a clock that's, you know, forever and a day giving you 555, you know, the number of change, or 999, the number of total cycles being closed out, then you know that you're on the periphery of something. And then you just keep sending it up and just say, okay, brilliant, thank you for that insight. Let's just see, because there's a little test, basically. This is about a test of your faith, I feel. If you've sat and thought, well, Christmas didn't deliver, December never delivered, 2019 didn't deliver, and then you're charging out the gates thinking, this year's going to be mine. Great, you got 11 other months, though. Let's be realistic here. This is, as much as, you know, look, this is coming from a Mars in Aries, a Mercury in Aries, and an Aries Taurus cusp. I feel you. Like, I totally feel you, but we got to be sensible about this, because this is about a longer term success that is tangible, that is reachable, but it's going to take a while. All right. If you've watched the previous pick a card reading about what 2020 will bring, majority of energies did not reflect an outcome until sort of early parts of March, April, moving into August. Let's get the work done. Let's build the foundation first, all right? Because this is what we're birthing. Now, this is the Empress. Essentially, we're talking potentially over a 9-month period even. Now, that's not to say you're not going to birth something before that, but essentially with the Empress showing, you know, that fertile land, that ground, you know, this is about, I mean, this is very much Taurus and Libra energy, but again, Taurus is obviously the April season, okay? So this is kind of showing that springtime energy whereby we have to make sure that the stepping stones are being put into place now. Thanks, Spirit. What else is it you wanted to show, Aries? January 2020, please. What can you tell us, please? What else needs to be sort of in their periphery or in their awareness here? What else can you tell us, please, about January 2020 for Aries? What else are they needing to be aware of, please, Spirit? Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, we've got the Chariot. We've got the horses going in two different directions here, and the man's kind of like, you know, having a whale of a time trying to control the horses, one going left, one going right. Sometimes when we're rushing past something, brilliant, excellent, but let's see what the Chariot, let's see what that energy will bring. Let's see what the Chariot energy brings. What will the Chariot energy bring, Spirit? That full steam ahead energy, what will it bring? Healing. Healing. Okay, there's some kind of healing, but this is a very singular energy. Okay, so if you feel like within the month that you have now deemed your correct course of action, you've utilized that balance of masculine and feminine with the black and the white horses, the yin and the yang. It's a balanced approach. Okay, and you know that the energy will be healing for you, then obviously that's something that they are recommending. Okay, what else can you tell us, please, about the Chariot and Temperance? This is also about a kind of spiritual healing as well. And now we've got options and illusions. Okay, so again, it's kind of clarifying that there is going to be a healing from this, because it will allow you to figure out what it is you need, and removing those kind of illusions and daydreams and the fantasies that could have presented, in order for you at some point within the month, or maybe even in February, to start making that conscious effort. But just be careful you're not too swept up in that Chariot energy, because like I said with the Temperance card, this is usually about spiritual healing. This is usually at the end of a kind of test. She's pouring the water in between the two cups, and she's treading into that kind of, that pile of energy, that puddle of energy, and that kind of emotional sustenance. But it looks like she's doing the work herself. It doesn't come from an external source. She's recreating that herself rather than relying on an external. Okay, so if you've got a lot, it looks like it's going to be a busy kind of month where there's a heck of a lot of energies that are being thrown there with these with the Seven of Cups and the Chariot. And don't forget, this is probably the most solid of the energy, which is about drawing the energy back within oneself and trying to understand from a, you know, a balanced perspective what this is all about. But you're going to probably get thrown one or two little random kind of tests. Wow, okay, so again, there's a manifestation that's being created here with the Magician. All right, so again, there's an energy here of almost like where you're kind of pulling that energy back into yourself with the Temperance card. You're trying to kind of understand what it is you want to create, and you're doing that with the Magician card. But there's a lot of other energies that you're also creating, and it's about, you know, reining that energy in, pulling it into yourself, and deeming what is the suitable options and what isn't. Like I said right at the beginning with those kind of illusions. Okay, we've also got the Six of Cups. This is about reunion. This is about childhood kind of memories. It could be a soulmate, twin flame energy that will be potentially coming towards you in some way. Okay. And if it's not that, it could be a child connection, something that involves your past that potentially could come back. But with the Eight of Pentacles, okay, this is about talking about a focus, all right? Now, it could be that the manifestation you're bringing in with this past energy is that you're going to start really focusing on that Six of Cups, and then it's going to cause more questions, and then your energy is divided, okay? But what Spirit is saying here is that even if you are pulled back into that energy, make sure that you're drawing it back into yourself at some point. Don't overbalance yourself, or under sort of, you know, don't become so imbalanced where your energy is being sunk all into that new option that comes in, or the old option that comes back, or anything outside of yourself. Because what will happen is, it's like, I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to sort of go, well, actually, this isn't balanced now, so let's take it away for a while, all right? And make sure that when you're ready, we'll bring it back in, so then you can decide with a balanced head. So whatever you do, if you get thrown these options, make sure that you are doing it, and you're not doing it at the expense of expelling all of your energy, because Spirit will basically sit there and go, well, this isn't balanced. They're putting all the work in, and there isn't a balance here, all right? Equal balance. This is about equal balance, equal spiritual sustenance, equal emotional sustenance. And that's not to say if that person comes back in and they're not, you know, there's no give or take, to sit there and sort of start battling and fighting it. You don't have to go to that extreme. This is about seeing through the illusion. There's an underlying potential lesson here for in amongst all this, that they're trying to sit and go, wait, hold up. Have you seen this in its entirety? What else are you missing? All right. And if you are sat there going, yeah, but they keep coming out, it's not my issue. Well, how do you know it's not your issue? We're mirrors of everyone that we're attracting. That's why they do it. The whole universe is a mirror. That's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're basically, you know, the expression as within, so without, as above, so below. We are a projection of our external environment. And as much as it pains me to say it, unfortunately, it's been proven by myself in my own life a million times over. Reclaim your sovereignty. This is about reclaiming your sovereignty, okay? In a way that doesn't split the energy so you're all over the place and you can't deem what it is you need and you want, all right? Because what's going to happen is when you start reclaiming that, manifesting that energy back in, everything within your external environment will balance itself out because you yourself are balanced. It's honestly the most easiest way to correct an external environment, and sometimes it isn't even easy. Sometimes it takes a while because there's other moving parts involved. It's not always that simple, but sometimes, you know, it can be. It's just a mindset thing sometimes. Again, they're asking me to re-show you this card. This card's just flown out again. This is about spiritual healing. Okay, so look for things that come up in that time. Okay, abandonment triggers. Do you feel worthy? Are you upset someone isn't acknowledging your worth? Do you acknowledge your own worth? This is about what you're deeming others to be projecting onto you. How do you view that within yourself? Because this is going to be one of the most important types of questions you can ask yourself at this moment in time. Because it all relates. And as you can see, that sun is coming up behind the mountain there. You know, the dawn is about to embark. You know, we are coming up to spring. That is, you know, within the yearly cycle, the spring is that kind of the efforts of one's winter and one's past that we get to visually see. It's a manifestation of our past efforts. Have you done the work? And if you haven't, January may well show as some kind of illusion within an illusion. Okay, sit amongst like-minded friends who are on the same sort of page as you and discuss and say, you know, if you're maybe not aware of it, just say, oh, look, you know, if you're comfortable with people, just say, what do you think I need to work on? Because that might be something that, and you can sit and reflect and think, well, is it something I would need to work on because that's what's happening to me? That's going to be your best bet. Yes. They're talking about here preparing for the longer term. This is about putting in the effort. He's got his work boots on. He's got his long-term, you know, sort of comfortable boots and shoes on here. And he's looking into the distance to sort of see that manifestation. This is about taking a wider perspective with these things. Rather than sitting there thinking, you know, they didn't call me and that, you know, they don't want me and this, that and the other. Do you want yourself? If you can recorrect that energy, draw it back into you. And this goes with anything. If this is a job where you're getting thrown opportunities and then suddenly it doesn't materialize, this goes for anything that you're being presented with. If you feel a particularly kind of certain kind of way about that energy that was put towards you and then removed, if you feel triggered or a very strong emotional response to that, you have to ask yourself, what is it that's the wound within me that has brought this to my attention? Or what is this all about in the long term? What is this really about, you know? Do you deem yourself good enough? And if you don't, where can you begin to correct that? Because don't forget, these next couple of months, from where I'm looking at, this is all about a correction of path and really solidifying the path moving forward. And it's like, again, with that kind of first energy that I spoke about, it's like the gun fires off for the starting block, and then people are sort of having all these false starts. Let them do that. Don't forget, this is a marathon. We don't always come here, learn all our life lessons in a year and off we pop. This is a lifelong lesson, but this particular moment in man-made time within this reality is certainly something that your energy is having to look at, because of the long term, there's a brand new path that's waiting, but we just need to wrap up all the older stuff. What else can you tell us, please, Spirit? See, look, this is about an emotional connection, a deep emotive connection that, as you can see, this King of Cups here is usually a water sign. This is usually someone who feels very deeply. This is usually someone who has an extremely large amount of emotional, you know, kind of paternal energy, or even maternal, doesn't have to be male, where there's a deep love here. Okay, there's a very deep love. It goes very, very deep, and sometimes it can be very difficult to tangibly understand those feelings because it does go very deep. It's like an iceberg. You see 5% and the rest of it goes underwater. Sometimes the slow burn will allow that energy to release, okay? And if this is a particular individual, pay attention to their actions. If you're sat there thinking, well, they're not really showing me any interest, they're not really doing this, not really doing that, according to who? Is it according to you? Is it according to your past wounds? Or is it according to the reality? And that's not to say you're sat here and you're, you know, I'm not calling anyone out. I'm just saying this is we're in a dualistic reality. Do you know how hard it is to get balance? People, enlightened beings, don't even find balance, and then they have to pass over and come back again to learn it. We're all here for the same reason, which is to learn. And sometimes these things are not always easy to discern from, because we're shown so many other kind of instances or realities and projections from people and mirrors and God knows what else. So take the time to then understand from a different perspective, because this King of Cups here, if it's not a person that's offering that cup of love, that is usually, I mean, this is usually a father figure or someone that is a father, someone that's, or even, I mean, look, if it's not male, it's female. So a mother, a father, you know, maybe you have issues around your family that this links to, that this is bringing up. But just look, try and trace this along, because we're at a very, very, very interesting time being incarnated on this earth, okay? We're at an extremely interesting time, to the point where if you can get this kind of way of looking at things solidified moving forward, you're laughing. You are absolutely laughing, because it won't affect you as much. You'll be able to use that very kind of strong fire-based dynamic energy to get things done without missing a step or missing a move. It's about viewing everything, you know. Let's clarify the King of Cups here. Can you clarify what the King of, yeah, the Six of Pentacles. So this is about a balance. This is about a mutually agreed contract, okay? If it's not a soul contract, it could just be that this is about bringing balance in, as I mentioned before, whereby you're if this is not a person, if this is just you in your own energy, this is about understanding your own emotional world being reflected out via the world, and then you trying to understand your own triggers through that, and then healing those in a balanced way to bring you back to yourself with that temperance energy. If it is to do with another human being, there is a recalibration that's going on, which is exactly as I mentioned it before. All right, where you're essentially realigning yourselves with an individual in order to do the healing, because it doesn't just benefit you, it benefits them. Again, it could be a soul contract you have with them, that you have been brought together to do that healing. Yeah. Hang on, let me just see which way that goes. Hang on, let me just do it this way, because, yeah. So this is the Sun in reverse, okay? So it can be the divine masculine, this energy. It could also be the sustainability, you know, that kind of very fertile energy. But because it's in reverse, it's like an unrealized, unexpressed, untapped energy. Okay, so essentially what they're saying from where I'm reading this is, if we recalibrate this essentially could be what is on offer here, all right? Which is not just about abundance. This is not just about sustainability. This is not just about, I mean, it could also be Leo season, but it's not just about any one of those things. It's about you coming into your own and realigning fully with the higher self, with the soul, you know. That's some powerful energy right there. All right, so just see what comes to you. See what is being presented to you and how you should be reacting. If you react immediately, is it a trigger? Is it from your past? Have a look at, you know, dealing with those wounds, because once you do and correct that and just release that, work through it, once you have worked through it, it's going to really benefit you over this year. It's just going to springboard you ahead. Let's pull some Oracle. Where am I going, Spirit? They want to go with the Keepers of the Light deck. Perfect. I was going to use the Archangel spread. Where is that deck? Let me just grab the deck. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, let's pull from the Archangel Oracle card spread here. Okay, and let's just see for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs here. What can you tell us, please, for the sign Aries for January 2020? What is the outcomes, please, Spirit? Information, advice, insight, please. Aries 2020 January. Thank you so much. Insight, please. What is the overall outcomes? What insight can you give that hasn't already been mentioned? Thank you so much. Yeah, this is about healing. So comfort. I'm with you in your time of need, helping your heart to heal, okay? So again, watch for what comes towards you, because this is, again, the temperance energy. It's about healing. So we've got a really firm foundation moving forward. And we're not affected by presented issues or situations to the point where we go against ourselves, okay? Any last final words? Yeah, this is about a lot of sensitivity. We've got sensitivity, okay, so honouring your own sensitivity, nurturing, okay, so nurturing yourself, okay, because it will be reflected back, and clairsentience, so that kind of inner feeling, all right. Notice your recurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance, okay, so they're just clarifying what they previously mentioned there. So just watch for those energies, watch for those kind of signs, synchronicities, because especially if things have just presented to you and you're thinking, I don't know what to do about this, and there's something here I'm not too sure about, let me just get some clarification if you can't connect to your higher self and your guides. Right, so Keepers of the Light, let's see, what can you tell us, please? Insights for Aries energy, January 2020, please. Aries, thank you so much. I love these cards because the cards speak to me. I don't know what it is about these cards. I'm going to have to get more Kyle Gray cards. Keepers of the Light, what can you tell us for Aries, January 2020? What messages, insight, guidance, clarity can you give? What can you tell us, please? What is it Aries most need to be aware of? Thank you so much. Yeah. This is about increased awareness here. This is Master Buddha you've pulled, which is incredible. Deep connection. Trust your inner voice. Okay? This is about not only bringing self back to the spiritual, but also a test of whether or not you've learned certain things by presenting more. So just be really careful with how you're responding. Even if you're not taking them up on the offer, just be wary of how you're responding, because people don't seem to understand. Everything is reflected back. If you respond in a certain way that isn't aligning with your higher self, if you're doing it in a manner that is in a certain way, imbalanced, it is reflected back, usually immediately. So just be very aware. We have mirrors all around us. So with Master Buddha, give yourself a chance to understand this. I know sometimes it's easy to fire off the first thing we think. Guilty of that. You've got to try and, again, it's like just coming into yourself, drawing that energy back in, and then thinking, is this something that is going to benefit And then Buddha's saying usually the answer is yes, but just make sure that you're trusting your inner voice with it. So if you're sat there with a niggle and it's not going away, listen to that, okay? Because there's usually something to learn from it, all right? And then we'll do earth magic as a final outcome. Okay, final outcomes please for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, Aries energy for January 2020. Any final insights, any final clarifications? Thank you so much. Yeah. This is ancestors, generations. Is there something ancestrally that you are drawing upon? Is there a pattern of behaviour that maybe you or your ancestors have been within? That there is a mirroring of this going on as well. Don't forget that paternal energy. Is it down the father's line? Okay. Look around you. Is there something that is similar to how your ancestors have travelled through life and therefore it's coming to you and you're now having to learn from that also? Okay. If not, if you don't, I don't know who keeps messaging me. Is it important? Is it an emergency? Have a look to see. Again, I feel like one or two of you may be speaking to relatives around the January period, and it's like you're getting some information that you hadn't already received that's going to help you on your path. I feel like it's going to come from an elderly relative here. And if it's not directly, pay attention to your mediumistic abilities, because it could well be that you're getting channeled information and then you're putting it down to your imagination and not trusting that. And they're saying make sure you do. Okay, guys, very intuitive type of spiritual vibration really for January, but it's all helping aid you to sort of complete and do really well in 2020. So hopefully that's been of some assistance. Thank you for all your likes, subscription and shares. It does mean a lot to me. Obviously this is the Friday reading. You know, if you're watching it the day I've posted it, obviously if you're not, you're watching it in January 2020. Happy New Year. For Monday, where next video is going to be for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs for January 2020. This is going to be the general energies for Taurus. Yeah, let's see how we get on with Taurus, and have a lovely evening wherever you are, morning, day. Take care. Bye.